What's up, guys? Welcome to Tackle Talk, where I'm actually going to sit down with you guys and go through some of the gear, the tools and techniques that I use to catch some of the fish that you guys see right up here. And realistically, this is going to be new for me, so you're going to have to give me a minute, but I'm going to tell you what, guys, maybe, just maybe, you'll learn something here that'll catch you your next big fish.
Got it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this one's got a little something on it here, baby. Oh, looky here. Oh, looky here. He's fighting me. Oh, Lonnie, fighting me. Oh yeah. Oh, he's still trying. He's under the boat. Relax, relax. Oh, it's beautiful too. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, look at this. Looky here. Boy, don't make me get you in the mall!
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tackle Talk. Today, we are talking finesse techniques for hot summertime bass fishing. I don't know where you guys are from, but down here in the south, it is getting hot. And when I say hot, I mean thermal nuclear heat down here. 104 degrees yesterday, felt like 110. It's just been ridiculous. But what we're going to talk about today is fish location in relation to the heat. And what I've figured out over the last couple of weeks is that a lot more fish are either living on the top of the column in their search or the bottom of the column. But I've been targeting the bottom of the column with two of my favorite techniques, and that is, number one, the shaky head hook. Now, Zman's come out with a 1/10 ounce. It's called the Ned Lock. This thing is fantastic, and it has opened up my fishing game in the summer into something that I can't even explain. I know a lot of you guys are die-hard pitching and flipping fans. Me, I'm not good at it. I try, but in relation to my ability to target from such a shallow area or such a short distance, I'm not very good at it. I've used big sticks. I just don't have enough practice at it. I'm a long cast guy. This time of year, I like to keep, when the water's shallow, I like to keep myself far as I can from those fish. And I'm going to show you a few of the pieces of equipment that I use and some of the baits that I use that make that possible. I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Who is this guy to tell me how to catch fish? Nobody, just like you. Okay, just a guy, just sharing a little bit of knowledge that I've gained from watching some of the other guys that do this for a living, you know, and maybe we can all learn something together. All right, guys, first thing I want to talk to you about is rod selection. Rod selection is so very important this time of year for your finesse techniques, especially down here in the south. I went with a 7-foot 3, and this is a medium heavy, fast action favorite Pro Series on a TLC 2000 spin reel. I use 2-pound diameter, 10-pound test Seagar Smackdown in Stealth Gray, and I run about 3 foot of a BrazeX 12-pound fluorocarbon, and I put that on a number 1 Zman Ned Lock EWGs. Now these are brand new, guys. These just started hitting the market, and all I found so far is the number 1 size. Zman, if you could do me a big favor and let's get some like 3 and 5/0 would be fantastic, because these things are great, guys. Now I'm going to show you some of the baits that I like to use, and I know a lot of you guys, you don't believe me when I say Elastec is where it's at, but guys, Elastec is where it's at. You understand? I love this stuff. It makes my life so much easier when I'm out here for the few hours that I get to catch fish. actually spending more time catching fish than replacing baits. This particular bait right here, as opposed to a new one, give you an idea, it's about an inch longer because of how many times this thing's been pulled on. Now let me show you what I'm really excited about these new EWG hooks, guys. These things got this keeper back here on the back. That thing is fantastic, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rig this for you guys to see, and I'm gonna show you guys how this thing works. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and insert to the fold right here where this crown takes off. I'm gonna go ahead and insert to that crown. I'm going to come through the bait. I'm going to pull the bait up by the collar right here. There it is. And right here, till it flips over that little hump. Okay. See how that's on there now, guys? I'm then going to take my bait and I'm going to stick it right in the fat of that tube. Now, there's a little pocket in there for you guys that don't know what I'm doing right now. There's a small pocket in there. Sometimes I like to give it a little extra. It just depends on how the bait's sitting. This one's not the best to rig because it's got a big chunk missing out of it right there. But as you guys can see, that thing, fire. Now I'm going to work this 2 or 3 different ways. It all depends on how I want to take it. But the presentation on this bait is going to appear something like this. And don't forget, guys, a little tip for you. Before you hook this thing up, make sure you stretch it out real good and get those salts all mixed around in there and pulled apart. And make sure you get these little tail fins here. Get these things pulled apart too, because when this thing sits in the water, you want it to do this. Now I'm going to work this thing 1 of 3 ways. The first way is I'm going to just leave it on the bottom and just drag. Just drag it across the bottom. Not very exciting. Very boring. You get a lot of muck and junk on there. So a little pro tip, guys, when you're running your fluorocarbon, go ahead and get you some, see that? Go ahead and get you some, I can't even think of it, crazy glue. Get you some crazy glue and make sure you stick a little bit right here on this little area where the bait connects to the top of the Ned, and go ahead and stick it on that end of that double Palmar knot down there on your fluorocarbon. Just a little bit of something there for you. Keep you on the water a little bit longer and spend a lot less time re-rigging, which is not one of my favorite parts of the game. But you don't have to just use it on this. Oh, second way is actually skipping it, where you're keeping the rod at a 45 to 90 and you're just doing small pops, pop, 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 which is going to present as a small bait fish that's just breaking a couple inches from the bottom, because right now bottom contact is very important for a lot of your bigger bass. They're staying deeper because, and I say deeper, listen, 1 to 3 foot of water is ideal, but they're going to be on the bottom of that 1 to 3 water, and depending on your visibility, like where I live, it's 0. It's maybe 18 inches on a good day for us. Bass, I don't know. I don't have bass's eyes, so I can't tell you how deep bass or how far the bass can see in my water. But I found today that the smaller presentation, something in a 4-inch, as opposed to maybe an 8-inch presentation, something like this, I didn't see that happening today. And I threw this thing a few times, which gave me the idea that the fish were keying in on smaller bait fish. Now, there's also the Power Finesse Shrooms head. This is the actual old school in my eyes, because this is more of a Ned, to where you would rig it with the hook out like a Ned rig, something like this. And just leaving that thing exposed like that. But I'm not a fan of that down here in Florida, because I'm really running light line. Like I said, 2-pound diameter, 10-pound test to a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. I'm not pulling anything out of anywhere by no means. I can tire a fish down, I can run it on drag, I can finesse it in, and that's no problem. But small hooks, small wire, it doesn't require as solid of a hook set in order to actually get that fish to stay on. These little hooks are very, very sharp, and I'll tell you what, just a small prick in that thing is, it's on there. it's on there. At that point, it's just a question of keeping tension. But again, I'm staying in that 45 to 90 degree, like I was working a wacky rig or like I was slow dragging a worm. Ideal, ideal. Just remember that when you go to the bigger weights, you're gonna look at medium heavies. Like this is a 300 series. Medium heavy rods, this is a medium heavy, but I've got this one working 20 pound, and that's 20 pound high vis. So it's 12 pound or 4 pound diameter, 20 pound Seagar. And I'll tell you, it's changed my fishing game. But the thing to remember is on your rod, if you don't have open guide eyes, if you have what are called micro eyes, you don't want to throw that leader. You don't want to tie it. You don't want to take the time to do it. I'm telling you right now, it won't work the way you think it will, and you're going to end up tearing those eye insert out. You don't want to have to replace an eye just because you tore out the insert. So think about that before you're out there on the water. And guys, the thing to remember is the presentation on this bait is going to be really important, because a neutrally buoyant bait like this is going to have a tendency to stay more vertical in the water rather than horizontal, which is going to definitely trigger more fish's curiosity. And then that jump and pop technique that I like to do, where I'll give it a pull, 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 and making bottom contact, keeping that rod at the 45, working it tip, 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 and then watching my line. Now, watching your line is so important with this technique, because the last thing you want to do is not feel the bites. Today, felt no bites, not a single one. I had given my my pull and felt a little resistance, gave it my third pull as if I was trying to get that higher pull, drag out of it. Fish was on it. Fish was on it several times today. So no gut hooks, thank goodness, both in the lip, because that EWG style hook. But again, light line, light tackle, maybe going down to a medium rod would be better, but not here in Florida. You put that medium rod on one of these bass and try to pull it out of here, you might be in for a little bit more than you thought you were gonna be in for. That's all I'm gonna say. You might be buying some new gear because you might be breaking something, and I've seen it happen, so guilty myself. Well guys, I hope these little tips help you. I hope you learned something from it. I hope you take this bit of knowledge that I've shared with you and maybe attempt it. I know it's not, some of you down south guys are, if it ain't big braid, it don't work. I agree. Listen, I run the same thing. But sometimes I got to switch it up. Sometimes the fish aren't biting, and that's all I'm trying to do is give you guys some ideas on different techniques that'll maybe bring me some luck. So until next time, this has been episode 1 of Tackle Talk. And I'll go through some different baits next week maybe, and I've got swim baits. Swim baits, swim baits, swim baits, and hopefully we'll be joined by a special guest. But until next time, guys, see ya!